The world seems to slide away from religion, at least by conventional measures. The percentage of adults who identify as religious have been declining each year. And it's a bad thing, right? Well, wrong, at least not to everyone. It seems official now that the sooner a nation walks away from religion, the sooner its citizens manages to walk away from poverty. Research by Pew Research Center from 2006 to 2018 concluded that the world's poorest nations are also the ones that have the most religious citizens. In many countries, most people than there were 20 years ago now believe that religion plays less role in society, of course in the exception of countries like Indonesia, Kenya, Brazil, and Israel, where most adults believe that the role of religion in the society has increased. Around the world, there is a clear correlation between higher economic advancement and lower religious commitment. In other words, the more economically advanced a country is, the more its citizens are likely not to be religious. For example, in countries with higher GDP per capita, according to the research, people tend to be less likely to pray or to say that a person must believe in God, to be moral and have good values. From this chart here, you can see that most countries see religions as helpful to the society, which personally I think is a good thing. I mean, religion gives people hope, purpose, and reason to wake up every morning, at least to some. I also cannot fail to appreciate that religion has played a very major role in shaping our society. Well, as much as I might not agree with some concept in religion, I personally believe that some doctrines and theory that comes along with religion, like concept of heaven and hell, keep some people in line. Well, that is changing, and quickly. Most young people now are becoming more and more religiously unaffiliated, and religion is fading. And while that might be considered a bad thing, well, the level of morality is increasing. Although we might differ on what morality and immorality is, the idea that people are becoming decreasingly violent, more peaceable, and more tolerant over time, that should be a universally agreeable thing, that we are becoming more and more moral. The question is, why is it that the level of morality is becoming more and more inversely proportional to the level of religion spectrum? For instance, in our previous chart, countries like Spain, Canada, France, Germany, UK, Netherlands, and Sweden are some of the countries with the most citizens who believe that religion does more harm than good. And they are also some of the most peaceful countries in the world. Okay, this graph only covers 36 countries. That's not even half of all the countries. But still, we can see that most of the very violent countries to live in, that if you were to choose from our chart, most of the citizens in these countries tend to believe that religion does more good than harm. I don't want to speak of countries like Afghanistan, Syria, Congo, Sudan, and okay, I know these countries are not fighting over religion, at least not all of them, but religion, which is very abundant in these countries, has failed to restore peace. Well, I hear that Islam means religion of peace. If that's the case, then what is wrong with the Middle East? This chart here shows the view of religion according to countries. Blue here represent middle income countries, while green is for the high income. 56% of citizens from the high income countries believe that religion mostly helps society, compared to a whopping 87% of the citizens from the middle income countries. And the same is with the view of tolerance and encouragement of superstitious thinking, as you can see from the chart. In general, high-income countries tend to mostly move against religion, and that differs sharply with the middle income countries. What surprises me is how strict adherence to religion tend to surprisingly correlate with poverty, even within one country. Let us use US for example. In an article released in 2014 by New York Times Magazine, writing about the hardest places to live in the United States of America, considering factors like education, income, unemployment, disability, and life expectancy. Interestingly enough, people living in those places are most likely than those in the wealthiest section of the country to Google search terms related to religion. It was found that those people tend to Google words like Antichrist, hell, and rapture. This suggests that fundamentalism, hellfire, and Bristol vision of apocalypse plays a significant role in the life of people living in poverty. These countries here are some of the countries that has the most citizens in the world who believe that religion is important in their daily lives. And each of these countries are relatively poor with per capita GDP below $5,000. This can only reflect strong relationship between a country's social economic status and religiosity of its residents. In the world's poorest nations, those with average per capita income of $2,000 or less, the median proportion of those who say religion is important in their daily lives is 95%. In contrast, the median for the richest countries, those with average per capita of $25,000 or higher, is 47%. The only high-income countries that most of their citizens believe that religion is important are the United States, which tops among them with 65% of its citizens believing that religion is important in their daily lives. We also have Italy, Greeks, Singaporeans, and the residents of the oil-rich Persian Gulf states. The rest of all high-income countries are further down the religiosity spectrum. A study in 2009 by an independent research Tom Ree that analyzed 50 countries that represented a wide range of different religions, wealth, and social structure showed a high correlation between personal insecurity with countries which are more religious than others. Dr. Ree confirmed that more religious nations have more indicators of disharmony, with lower life expectancy, higher infant mortality rate, higher murder rate, and more corruption. These countries also scored worse in Global Peace Index in that they are less peaceful both internally and in their international relations. We also see from the research that nations with a higher level of believers in God, heaven, hell, and the devil have a higher level of murder rates. Look, I believe in God, but here we are talking of facts. We know the importance of religion in the society and the role it plays in our daily lives, and how many people are given hope by it. We know about charity, especially that is provided largely by Catholic churches, especially during Christmas. The poor people who are freely fed by Muslims during Ramadan, and other obviously good things that comes with religion. But still, we can agree that all these can and have been achieved by other non-religious organizations like the Red Cross, USAID, and other great individuals like the YouTuber Mr. Beast. This is a clear indication that people can behave morally even without the influence from religion. Africa being considered the poorest continent on the globe, and by far. In the top 10 poorest nations, 8 of them are from Africa. In the top 50 poorest nations, 33 of them are from Africa. Take your time to swallow that, please. That's like what? 66% of the top 50 poorest nations are from Africa. But also, again, Africa is the most religious continent in the world. Researchers have found that 3/4 of the population in 17 out of 19 sub-Saharan nations think that religion is important and very. Europe is the world's wealthiest continent. The share of the adults who believe that religion is important in their daily lives is generally low, only 23%. So does religion do more harm than good? I'll say yes. Numbers don't lie. A lot of you will maybe argue that without religion, people will run out of control. I'm not disagreeing, but again, look at countries like Sweden, Germany, Japan, and China. And by the way, China is the most religiously unaffiliated nation by sheer number, and they are doing just fine. All they needed was an educated population, and boom. This is not a debate against God. No, God and religion are two different things, and believing in God does not mean that you stand for God, you represent God, or that you know God. He might even be a completely different thing from what we have ever thought of Him. To me, being human, I mean, human, human, you know what I mean by human? Being that human, that is all we need to, and especially if we are educated humans. I'm Karaki Manji. Guest 10.